Hello, y'all. I'm back again for another video. And this video is going to be about how I survived or was able to repel an estranged narcissist. So, an estranged narcissist is usually a family member a lot of times. And so, one of the most hardest things it is to do is repel them. Just get them off your radar, get them off your back, figure out a way to basically stay in a no contact. So, this is the thing when you have an estranged relative, no matter who they are, happy Sunday, y'all, as well. When you have an estranged relative, no matter who they are, whether they be a daughter, son, niece, nephew, cousin, parents, grandparents, godparents, no matter who they are in your life, adopted relatives, they're estranged. Y'all are not talking, and it's due to a choice, normally in these cases, that they're sticking to or you're sticking to. In this case, I want to talk about estranged relatives. They have made a decision to be mad at you. They can't really break down anything that you've completely did to make them go so far with you, right? So one of the things I can say is okay, like I'm in a no contact with my sister right now, right? I can tell you I'm gonna stay in a no contact. She cussed at me. Some years ago, she accused me of messing with her student loan. She ended up finding out who did that to her. I just don't want to be involved with this kind of person. She was yelling at me when we were in Texas. My sister is just not supportive. So I can break down many, many reasons why I'm going to just stay in a no contact with my sister. But the problem with estranged narcissist relatives is their reasons are not necessarily good enough for the average person. And a lot of times their reasons are involving lacking empathy for you. Say you were in a car accident and you had a extreme PTSD, you had a nervous breakdown, you were in a very traumatizing car accident, your legs were broke, and you could not go or make it to the hospital to see a narcissist. And the estranged narcissist relative goes no contact with you, and they have no consideration for the fact that you were in the hospital in a car wreck and your legs were broke. I mean, you borderline were in a coma. That has never happened to me. I'm just giving you an example of how their perspective will be very skewed. So how I repelled or managed to reject an estranged narcissist that came back. For one, I know what a narcissist is now. Okay. I've lowered my emotional thinking. Please click a like, y'all. Happy Sunday. I've lowered my emotional thinking. So I'm using more logic. Okay. Um, Another benefit is that the estranged narcissist relative typed her messages to me. She began contacting me through typing her messages. Also, throughout the years, while she maintained being an estranged relative, we were both kind of doing the same thing, watching each other's videos, kind of getting a little background on one another. And I was able to kind of get to know her through her videos. And, what I got to know through her videos was not necessarily a bad thing. But what I did grasp or get from watching her videos is the reality of the fact she had moved on with her life. And she maybe could get that from watching my videos that I had a life. So with that being said, I watched her videos, and actually when I watched her videos, I wasn't watching her videos thinking that she's a narcissist. I didn't call her that. Um, to be quite frank, I think on one of her platforms, you can see who's looking at it, and I think I might have been blocked. So I'm not sure, but I think that did happen because it got to a point where I couldn't pull up her social media on that particular platform. And so, she's an estranged narcissist relative. So blocking me with me being an immediate family member, it's not a lot of empathy there because, I mean, granted, you're not talking to me, but I at least can see a photo of you, right? So she blocked that. I think that's what happened. So I ended up watching some of her videos on YouTube. So I learned that she was pregnant. So I was able to assess, take my time without her rushing in and contacting me. So what happens is with an estranged narcissist relative, what they don't understand is when they're in a no contact with you, you're also healing as well. So they're underestimating the power of healing. So hello to Nina Zarko, 2914. Thank you so much for saying hello. Welcome to the live. I appreciate you coming in on this Sunday. Happy Sunday, y'all. So, an estranged narcissist relative, they're underestimating the power of your healing and the actual power of how you can get over anyone in time. I mean, you have had people that have gotten over their narcissistic parents. It's just a matter of time. So there was a underestimating of the power of time. And this is the thing. When an estranged narcissist relative is torturing you, because that's what they're doing. They're not really in a no contact because they're necessarily protecting themselves. When you're empathic, your no contact will be a little different because you're protecting yourself. But when an estranged narcissist relative is doing it, it's kind of like part of their torture regimen, right? So it's purposeful. It's a form of like a revenge, but it's a over taking of a revenge. It's like too huge of an amount. So what's happening is as the estranged narcissist relative stays in a no contact, there's a lot of changes that go on in my life. I began going to church more. I'm praying consistently. I have a family at home that I'm dedicated to and obligated to. I have my own residence. I'm independent. Um, I may not have a big family here where it's like dozens of us. However, there's enough support. I feel loved. People are kind to me. And then throughout the process, while I have this estranged narcissist relative, I do go through some trials and tribulations with my relatives that I am in contact with. We actually have a little beef and disputes, and we go through our little family drama. So that actually helped me as well to I made it through all of it without her. So you start to think, I don't need this person, this estranged narcissist relative. People always show back up or reappear in your life when they know that you is over them. Okay. And so I'm a decent lady. So she came back. I ain't did nothing to that girl for real. I mean, and also, just paying attention to how I had explained to this estranged narcissist relative, it's some called a nervous breakdown, right? I went through a horrific custody battle. And just how she could treat me, even as I explained the breakdown I had behind the situation. I tried very, very hard. I spent a lot of money, um, paid, I invested and paid a lot of money in this situation. I mean, I'm talking about over 75,000 total, just from the bill I had to pay, legal fees, court fees, about 75,000, if not more total. Literally, this is how much these people got from me. It's very sad. So, let me check the comment here. Please click a like if you're in here. Um, hello to Marigon. Hello. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing the name right. Marigana Kelmindi. Hello to you. Marigana Kelmindi, 1697. Hello. Thank you so much for all the hellos. I appreciate the chats. And please click a like if you're in here. So going back to Estranged, Narcissist, relative, being able to reject this out of my life is I studied, I watched, and this is the thing. As I watched the videos throughout the years that I saw of her, I came to a state of peace, and I was happy that she was able to have a what I consider to be a joyous life. Um, I healed. I This is the thing, when somebody's in a no contact with me by their own choice or by my choice, whichever way it goes, I in no way want them to be miserable. So just because we're not speaking doesn't mean I want anyone to feel any form of unhappiness. That's not what I want. So I was comforted by the fact that this particular estranged narcissist relative seemed to be happy. And I could notice some of the things we kind of had in common, like we both like coffee and stuff. But she seems to be very content with her new supply source. So, because you got to remember, immediate relatives, we're just the first supply sources for narcissists. So if you're a parent, aunt, uncle, grandparent, if you raise the narcissist, you're just their first provider. That's it. So I developed a sense of peace. And one of the great changes I made in my life is attending church sometimes, being up to date on my prayers. I didn't go to church every Sunday, but I attended when I could. However, my youngest son, he attended church every week without missing a beat. So that brought a lot of positive energy in my life. My youngest son got saved, baptized, gave his life to the Lord and everything. And so I had a lot of joy in my life too. And my oldest son continued to keep his career and strive and be the disciplined guy he loves to be, and laughing all the time. Everybody just was kind of growing and maturing, including me. No matter your age, you're growing and maturing. So with this estranged narcissist relative, there's a lot going on in my life and her life as she stays in estrangement. She was in an estrangement that I didn't want to be in. I wish we could have been talking long, long time ago. So one of the things that helps me is this. And y'all may consider this too. This is one of the things I do. If we're gonna talk, we're gonna talk, right? What I don't allow people to do is take me through like a government screening process, right? So I'm not getting ready to do it. Whether it be for grandkids, any exchange relatives, daughters, no matter who people are, I don't allow narcissists to take me through their job process, so to speak. So what that would mean is it's kind of like like if you enter into a new relationship, you're vetting the person. So narcissists, they have this tendency to over vet a person that they shouldn't be vetting. Like it's unnecessary. So, she came back, this estranged narcissist relative, she came back um not powerful enough. If you're gonna come back, just come back. I would like to be in your life. Can I talk to my siblings? I would love to talk to you. When can I see you? What's your phone number? Just simple. But she came with this spirit of stringing you along spirit. Okay, so that's what I'm going to call it. I call the stringing you along spirit, I call it a screening process that a narcissist is putting you through. And I don't go through those processes because, for one, you didn't know me too freaking long. So it's a process that they're taking you through, which is kind of like, in some sense, it can make you feel like they're above you or you're working towards mastering something. They're so important, like they're like the president or they're like some kind of god. So you need to be in a certain particular place where you're earning their graces. It's not normal. Okay. So one of the things I do is I don't go through those screening processes. And this is why. Much of the time I don't go through a screening process or the vetting process with the narcissist because normally they are actually beneath me. So I'll give you an example. A relative that wants me to come in town and go through his vetting and screening process so I could see some kids. I'm not doing that because he's the alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. So I'm not getting ready to allow someone that can't keep marijuana and liquor out of their body to make me feel like I got to show him that I can be approved or show him that I'm good enough to be around some kids. I just don't do it. So I don't go through narcissist screening processes. And it's the same way with this particular estranged lady narcissist. I didn't go through it. So she came back like the typical narcissist, like they don't trust you and they want you to go through the screening process. She's telling me what she would like to do. She's messaging me, wouldn't have a phone conversation. Also, there was a death in the family. And one of her mistakes was saying that she didn't know what to say. And she doesn't. She's a narcissist. She does not know what to say when somebody dies. Because for one, she doesn't care. It's different when someone says they don't know what to say versus someone saying, I'm speechless. I'm speechless. That was traumatizing. I don't even know the first word to say because I'm still in disbelief that it's happening. That's different when somebody words it like that. But all she had to say was she didn't know what to say. Also, in the meantime, another thing that kind of really protects me from people is not liking when they even manipulate an enemy of mine. So acknowledging when I have beef with somebody or we have an issue, this estranged narcissist relative, she had sent some flowers to the funeral. So the father of the deceased person, from what I heard, he actually, because he got the flowers from this estranged lady narcissist relative, he actually assumed that we were on speaking terms. So I didn't like that she manipulated him. She's purposeful and purposely It may seem simple to somebody else. Oh, it's just flowers, but it's the manipulation behind the flowers. Those flowers should have been thrown in the trash. When I was at the funeral, I did not know that they came from her. So basically, she utilized the funeral to manipulate two Scorpios, is what she did. She really did, because myself or the father of the deceased person, we did not know. Well, first of all, I did not know that those came from her. The flowers gave off a horrific spirit. One of the little flower things kind of jumped off from there while I was recording at the funeral. And then I found out later from another relative that the father of the deceased relative thought that her and I were on speaking terms. So he accepted the flowers. But I wish that he would have told me that they were sent and that he had received flowers from her, because it would have been my request that they've been put in the trash. I think that it's just disrespectful. You're an estranged relative, right? So why don't you find out if that's okay to send flowers? I mean, um it was a very small set of flowers. It was just inappropriate. And so that happened. And when that happened, she did not make contact with me right away. She waited um, over 2.5 more years to make contact with me. And so also that was a mistake that she made, not making contact with me at my most vulnerable moment. Maybe, you know, somebody's passed away, a relative has passed away. So contact me then. But she waited 2.5 years because it's all about torture, right? It's all about lack of empathy. It's all about entitlement. It's all about she don't care anyway. So during the process, I had some anxiety attacks over a 3-day period, when I was going through the decision making process of what I should do. And in her messaging, she just made it clear that she just wanted to be in contact with me, but she doesn't want to really be in contact with me because she wouldn't even talk to me over the phone. So that's that narcissistic screening process they're taking you through, that you just don't have to go through. You just don't have to go through it. And that's a normal person vets people, but you've known this person too long. You don't need to vet me. I've known you decades and decades. You're my immediate relative. You don't need to screen me. This ain't this is not a clinic where we're doing x-rays and MRIs to determine illnesses. It was just too much. So ultimately over the years, sometimes a person can stay away so long, it's like a form of a death. It's like they've died. I mean, they may not be physically dead, but it's very normal to get over someone. It's normal if someone stays an estranged relative with you and they stay in this status, and you have begged them and you messaged them, and it's called losing interest. People lose interest in you. It's no different. Say you're in a marriage and your spouse constantly has affairs on you. They're just constantly cheating on you. After enough affairs, you may get to the point where you say, I don't want to be married to him or her no more. I don't want to make love with them no more. I mean, it can happen when a spouse or husband or wife has one affair on you. You are over this person. Hello, Daniel. How are you doing? Um, I'm trying to stay up so I don't go to sleep, so I don't miss what we got going on today. So thank you so much, Daniel. Daniel's right there through their AI clone right there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the like as well, son. I appreciate you coming in. How are things going where you're at, Daniel? That's my son, y'all. He's been very supportive of my lives and my videos and everything, and I try to support him too. And I was just talking about this, how over the years with the estranged narcissist lady relative, you know, you develop a life, you know, at some point. And I learned the value of time, y'all. I learned that okay, I am back, y'all. Thank you so much. The app brings up the morning prayer, y'all. So that's what happened. So thank you so much. So yeah, over the years with this estranged narcissist relative, I always have my own life and with the family that I'm around. So, you know, time is getting very sketchy, y'all. So what I've learned over the last, I would say 7 years, is there's really not a lot of time in the way that you think. Time is actually 1 minute is not broad as it used to be. So, you know, it used to feel like, say you had an hour of your time, that hour could be allocated to 10 people. You all get together, you watch a video together or a movie or pray together. But now time is getting really more condensed. So what I find is that the time we're allowed, it goes by very fast and there's not enough of it, right? That's how time feels. Time, I don't know about y'all, but time and the hours and minutes of the day feels different. The time goes by so fast that, like right now, I'm doing this video. Daniel was on my live. He has his activity going on. People work, they have to go to jobs in the house. We all have to do our jobs in general so we can survive. But it feels like there's not enough time for the activities we have. So you may say, well, okay, I'm going to focus on my garage this week. That's going to be a activity I focus on. You may begin to feel like it ain't enough time in this week to get it done. So what happens is, what I've learned to do is minimize situations that take more of my time, that take away from what I should be doing. Same way with finances, you know, giving your money out to people outside of your household. You might want to consider not doing so much of that. So giving your time and money out, it's not the same feeling in the way that it used to be. It just feels like time has changed. You know, back in the day, and it may be because our support systems are minimalized. You know, back in the day, there may be a lot more adult supporters versus now in families, there may only be one. The dog may be the most supportive family member that's helping out sometimes in some families, you know. You just be surprised on how people are really surviving and how they're living their lives. But I know that the feeling of time has changed for me. So with that being said, it's like it feels like I don't have time for this mess, right? I don't have time for an estranged narcissist lady relative to be in and out of my life. I don't have time for anxiety attacks. I don't have time for uncertainty and agony. I don't have time for people that's coming back in my life that ain't coming back for a legitimate source. And, just the entitlement of it. And, the bottom line is what it showed me when she reached out to me is this estranged narcissist lady relative is that I'm not a bad person. Okay. But she came back with a very narcissistic attitude, like, like I'm just sitting there waiting on her, like, playing with my emotions, sort of like, I know it must have been real hard losing me. And, like she was putting herself on a God type status, and it didn't feel right. And I actually, you know, since she's been out of my life, I was attending church sometimes. And it didn't feel right, almost like using my emotions against me. I went off my emotions. My emotions meant something. And with this estranged narcissist relative, I knew for sure that the girl wasn't right. It wasn't right. It wasn't natural. It wasn't serving my best interest. And she had this very narcissistic attitude, and making me kind of feel like, in a way, that because she had mentioned this video chat, but she has always made it clear she doesn't want to be involved with my other children. She's just a meano, just mean. And it's not good. Like, the way we flow in my household, like, even when I'm like talking to my cousins and stuff like that, and talking to friends, I have a household. My household, you can come in my conversation and participate. If I'm on the phone with my cousin and Daniel and Isaiah want to drop in the conversation and speak or say hello, and crack a few jokes, I'm fine. We on speakerphone, right? So, um, this estranged narcissist relative, and of course, estranged means a relative that is staying in a no contact with you and has been in a no contact with you much of the time, a lot of years. So with this estranged narcissist lady relative, she coming back in my life last year with a very closed in attitude, excluding other people in my house, making it clear she doesn't want to be bothered with them, so to speak. And I'm thinking, I'm not entering in no abusive situation. I mean, and it's not how I carry my household, right? Um, it's almost like she didn't have enough empathy to understand how the people that do live with me, how welcomed they are in my life. And if she wants to be in my life, the people that live in my residence, they need to feel welcomed by her. She wanted to do video chats with me, and like I said, how I am over the phone, even just having like my cousin on speakerphone, Daniel oftentimes will just come in and start talking to my cousin, because it's the fact is my cousin is their cousin too. Same way with this estranged narcissist lady relative, these are her relatives. But an estranged narcissist relative, they lose sight of that the other people around you are their relatives as well. Also losing sight of the fact that not only are these her relatives, in actuality, the people that really come first in my life for real live in my home. Who is this girl to come back, this lady to be coming back in my life, making it seem like I'm just dedicated to her and she just wants to talk to me? And like, my my family's here. I'm not getting ready to be on a video chat with anybody feeling uncomfortable and being filled with anxiety, because I feel like, in some sense, I'm feeling like I gotta hide the rest of the family out. It's bullcrap. So what I accepted was, this lady doesn't have good intentions towards me and does not mean me well. And I declared, I said, this is like a narcissist. I had to accept that anyone that would just show back up into my life and treat me in the way that she was treating me, this is how a narcissist would treat me. And what happened was I was very turned off by it. It gets to the point where you should become unavailable for their narcissism. You should become so turned off by it that you repel it. Like, I'm just not interested in this. And I felt like it's better for her to stay estranged. Now, the communication through the DMs got a little better. However, she doesn't mean me well. Also, I began to have a lot of compassion for the people that I consider to be her abuse victims. And I'll give you an example of abuse, right? Abuse is very broad. It really is. So I began to look at her in this way. She's married, of course, but she oftentimes will have her sister-in-law help her with things. Things such as childbirth. If she has a baby, her sister-in-law helps her. And I began to have some kind of empathy and compassion for a sister-in-law that's constantly having to be the go-to because this estranged narcissist lady relative is basically using her. It's like, you have a mother, you have a family, but she's consistently going to this sister-in-law getting her parental needs met, and it's very inappropriate. I also paid attention to the fact that her parent is not hauling off, jumping on all the airplanes every year to go see her. Pay attention to how people, parents, back off from them. Much of the time, what happens with a lot of parents, aunts and uncles and grandparents, you're not paying attention to how the parents that are interacting with the estranged relative to you, it's an estranged relative to you. However, pay more attention to how the parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles that are not estranged are treating that person, how they're backing off, how they're not going in town to see her. Okay, so I began to notice a pattern, and I was able to come to my own conclusion that she ain't that special to anyone. And then I assessed through watching the videos that she's very neglectful of her other family members that are Black people, and she is in some sense very biased towards the white people that she's involved in. And I felt some kind of way. I'm like, from what I seen from the videos, I was very uncomfortable, and I felt like she doesn't treat her Black father as good as she should be. And this is where I'm able to rise, because I'm not upset with anybody that's already harmed me. And I could look at my ex-enemy and say, I think my ex-enemy deserves better treatment. I was very uncomfortable with the treatment, and it seemed like she was very distant and kind of very distant and rude to her father, even at her wedding. I wasn't invited to her wedding with this estranged narcissist relative. And this is another thing. With these estranged narcissist relatives, you've missed out on everything in their life, right? Because they cast you out and didn't want to be bothered with you. So I'm thinking to myself, why are you coming back to me? What do you want with me? What are you trying to get me to offer? And so The whole vibe of this estranged narcissist relative coming back into my life, I just repelled it and rejected it. Like I said earlier, the time and the days feel so much shorter. You ain't really got time for those kind of games. It feels like it's so much harder now to just master what we need to do anyway. Like I couldn't imagine with the way my days are and the time on my hand and my family's hand, I couldn't imagine having 15 people living in the house. I couldn't imagine it because where do I get all the time to serve the needs, cook meals for 15 people? But some people master it. They really do. And I commend them for doing it. But all I know is this: the small ship I got, that's all I can handle. Handling big ships, I definitely would need more support. I would need more of a support system, a larger span of a support system. But I have the support system for what I can handle right here. And that's just all I can handle, if that makes sense. So when an estranged narcissist relative comes back, this particular one was a lady. In Stoic lessons, they teach you don't have to let these people back. Even if they're your own child, you don't have to let them back in your life. And that's another thing. As I went through my healing process, you always got to have your own life. And that's another thing. When an estranged narcissist relative comes back, I could tell from her messages, she was behaving like somebody was sitting on hold, like they wasn't surviving without her. That's kind of scary. When you've been out of somebody's life decades and decades, you've been out of my life, like literally, I haven't heard your voice in over almost 2 decades. And to just roll back through with this sense of entitlement and just ill will towards me. Horrible. If you're going to come back in somebody's life, you got to embrace the family. You coming back in my life, everybody in this house related to you, girl. But see, she wasn't raised like that. And what I've learned about people, she's a narcissist. So when I declared in my mind that she's a narcissist, I'm not going to be able to teach her that. All I'm going to end up doing is being in a very toxic situation. Very toxic situation. Welcome back, Deanna Barzillo. How you doing, girl? Yes, I remember you. Thank you so much for coming back. This video, Deanna Barzillo, click a like, please, since you're here. So this video is about estranged narcissist relatives and some reasons not to take them back when they roll back through. This one was a lady, Deanna, and everybody. Thank you so much for the like, Deanna. And so I'm explaining the process I went through when one came back last year and how there was this major sense of entitlement. And I went over how over the years when she was gone, I had began going to church sometimes, not every week. I'm not going to lie and say I go to church every week, but I began going to church sometimes. I prayed daily. I consistently kept my own life going. And one of the things I did with this estranged relative, I began to watch her videos online. And she was pretty much doing the same thing with me, checking out my Facebook and things like that. And so thank you so much, Deanna Barzillo. And I love when you come here. You have a very soothing spirit through your chat. And when you do come in here, it kind of calms me down. There's some anxiety that comes with doing lives. It is. And you know, I have anxiety. So when you come in here, I feel protected. I feel loved. I feel like sometimes when people come in the chat and we get trolls and stuff, even for a small channel, trolls are kind of scary. I might try to play it off. Some of them trolls I done cussed out. Okay. I don't play the troll thing, but it's comforting because when Deanna Barzillo's here, she's very supportive, kind, and empathetic. So if a troll comes in here and I'm up under attack, I can continue to do my video under a protection. I hope it makes sense. It's like I know that I'm going to be protected. You're welcome, Deanna Barzillo. So it's you feel safe, because sometimes on lives you don't always feel safe. I've been on some lives and all trolls come in. I'd be like, dang, where do these demons come from? So, but not everybody will be a demon, but it just helps. And actually, trolls, they're kind of smart, right? So, like, say somebody want to leave a crazy chat, they'll be familiar with Deanna. So just Deanna being here and leaving her chats will run a troll off because they'll be like, oh, yeah, she's gonna say something. So they really don't like trolls don't like when you're in a live, when a content creator is in a live video and there's allies to the content creator. They don't like that. It'll actually run them off. So that's why I feel safe. And I've been doing lives. I started doing my lives back in August. So I know what I'm talking about on this. And when the trolls come in to attack, oh my God, let me give you an example. When I did my live recently over the past couple of days on custody battles and parental alienation and surviving it, you will not believe what was happening to me when I did that live, Deanna and everybody. Oh, let me tell you, it was so crazy. So when I did that live on custody battles, notice in that whole video, I just did that live over the past couple of days. When I did that live, I did not communicate with the chat at all. And this is why. Some crazy person. Now I know what the L mean. L mean loser, right? I don't know what the W mean. I'm almost scared to look up what a W mean. So I do know all L's mean loser. So this person chatted me. Deanna, do you know what the W mean when they just type a W? Oh, it means win. So were they telling me to win? Does that mean they want me? Deanna be up to date on her internet language. This ain't the first time she's had to tell me what something means. Okay, thank you, Deanna. Yeah, Deanna Barzillo, she knows her internet stuff. Okay, so this is what was happening. Okay, so maybe this is what happened. So I think they were telling me to win at first. So they typed me like a bunch of W's. But because they was a troll, they got mad at me and just started doing all L's. And I mean, they did like 40 chats on me. And I had to control myself because that video was very important for anyone that's been in a custody battle, fighting over their children, parental alienation, and surviving it. So what I had to do was really kind of ignore it because, and I'm glad I did because I got to respond to this really nice comment that this sister wrote thanking me for the video. So I got a really pleasant comment of a thank you. So so I'm glad the win is good, but giving me time. Not every live do I reply to comments, if that makes sense. Like some of my lives, I do not respond to the chat. Every live is different. Some lives I respond to the chat, some lives I don't. So every live video is different. So that person, I guess they got pissed off because I wasn't replying to their W for when. Um, I didn't know what the W meant. I was thinking it was something bad because they kept sending so many of them. I wasn't sure, but I do know that all the L's meant loser. And I'm definitely not a loser for helping parents that have went through custody battles because I'm trying to help ladies and men. So I'm not a loser for doing that. But that's what happened on there. So going back to the subject matter here about estranged narcissist relatives, um, the process that you went through over the years um, of healing and just having your own life. And you know, my life is far from perfect. It's not perfect. I don't have a perfect life, but there's a lot of things I need to get done. So thank you so much, Deanna Barzillo, for saying it's good. I appreciate you so much. I'm very grateful for you. Thank you for the sweet emojis. Thank you for the thank you, and you're welcome to the thank you, and thank you to you as well, Deanna Barzillo. And so, yeah, with going back to what I was saying, the narcissist, the estranged narcissist relative, um, there actually is no room and time for that behavior. Um, Another suggestion I'm going to give is this. This helps me out a lot. And I think some people may struggle with this. I've seen people struggle with this, right? This is a big struggle. If you develop a habit, this won't be a struggle for you. Okay. But I'm going to give you a major suggestion. Okay. What I do with my life, this helps me out a lot, is I decide what my priorities are. And whatever my priorities are, so my priorities are my family members in the house, Daniel and Isaiah. So what I do when I'm considering bringing anyone else in my life or around me, I consider how what I'm trying to bring in, is that beneficial to Isaiah and Daniel? How does this person benefit, or does this outside person have any good soul for the people that I dedicate my life to every single day? Does this person that I'm trying to bring in my life, do they even consider the Lord I serve? Is the Lord I serve, the one most high in heaven, is the Lord I serve even important to the estranged narcissist relative that's trying to come back in my life? What's their relationship with the Lord I serve? And what I do is I assess those things about a person. Almost like and this is how I live my life, y'all. This is a strong winter baby and Scorpio character trait, right? I assess if this person should be hired for the position. So that's what I do. Everyone that comes in my life, I assess if they should be hired. Now, I don't do it in the way the estranged narcissist relative is doing. She's trying to take me through a unnecessary screening process, which means I'm constantly being screened, never hired. So when the narcissist is doing it, they're not hiring you. So when a estranged narcissist lady relative comes back, she's not trying to hire me. She's trying to screen me, mess with me, agitate me, have me off balance. It's with bad intentions. But for me, on my end, I just hire you. I decide if you good for me, you hired. So I live my life that way, almost like I'm running a company, and it works for me because I can't hire somebody that's going to be a negative influence on my sons here that enter the house of the Lord and that go to church sometimes. Daniel going every week. Okay. So I take into consideration how this estranged narcissist lady relative that was coming back, what kind of effect is she even having on me just through communicating with me? She had a very toxic effect on me, creating literal anxiety attacks within me within over a 3-day period. The anxiety attacks didn't go away until I made a sound decision not to welcome this back in my life. I told y'all this on other videos. Anxiety is my alarm system. It's an alarm system that I did not have before when I was interacting and getting ensnared by narcissists. Okay. So an estranged narcissist relative, um, an estranged relative is in a relative that's choosing to stay in a no contact with you. And they're kind of like, in some sense, mad with you. When somebody is an estranged relative, they're not doing it out of, they're not protecting themselves, so to speak. They're doing it as a cruel deed. And it's an ongoing punishment that never ends. And it's an ongoing cycle. And so that's how I mastered it. And my result, another thing I do, I stay firm in my decisions. Another good trait about me, I'm just giving some traits and suggestions that help me in these situations. Another trait about me is I don't allow anyone to, once I've made that decision and I feel like it's best and I know it's best for myself and the people that live in my residence, I don't allow outsiders that have never went through my situation, that don't understand my situation, to talk me against my decision. My decision is what it is, and my ultimate decision, so that I could continue to move forward and do the best I can with Irene's life, my own life, is I made a sound-minded decision to not proceed forward, not play any games, not be under any sort of systematic attack that didn't mean me well. I made a decision to repel the estranged narcissist lady relative, and I continue to move on with my life. And I can do that in comfort because I did watch her videos, and I do understand that she's not alone, and she has her own family, and she has a constant flow of supply sources in her life. And narcissists, they'll have their supply sources, and empaths do too. We just treat our supply sources better. That's all. So that was my ultimate decision. Y'all have a happy Sunday. I hope you enjoyed this live. Let me check the comments before I get off of this live. Have a great Sunday, Deanna Barzillo. And again, Marigano, Kelmendi, 1697. Thank you so much for leaving your chat as well. And Deanna Barzillo, thank you so much for returning. I appreciate you always returning. So do y'all have any questions before I end this live? Any questions? Any questions? So yeah, these are just my suggestions, and hopefully to help you, because these exchange narcissist relatives will come back. I do believe that if the relative that's coming back is quite empathic, I do believe that it may be a different outcome. Thank you so much to Daniel as well. I love you so much, Daniel, and I love everyone that left a chat. Daniel, my son, subscribe to his channel, y'all. Their AI clone underscore 321. I'll post that in the description box as well. So y'all can subscribe to Daniel's channel if you like. He does a really good job on his videos as well. Please like, share, and subscribe, y'all. I appreciate you. Love y'all. Again, happy Sunday. And hopefully some of my suggestions helped you, and it helps me, and it works. The system I'm advising for you works. It allows you to make room for other things that matter, that will be more productive in your life. I'm all about living a productive life, right? And it's okay. I mean, anyone that's been an estranged narcissist relative for decades and decades, um I had a good heart just to communicate with her, y'all. You know, a lot of people, the way she's treated me, the dismissive, narcissistic, no contact that she's been in, while she's always said I was a good person in general. And it was brutal and unnecessary. So it's okay if somebody's been an estranged relative and they are a narcissist, and you declare in your mind that they are narcissists, and that's how they behaving. They're entitled, um, showing no empathy. Um, they're not showing no love. It's okay to reject an estranged narcissist relative, lady or man, someone that you've declared not to be an empath, and you have made a decision to not allow them back in your life when they've been in a no contact. Their no contact makes them an estranged relative. Estranged has stranger in it, right? You don't have to let this stranger back. You don't. They've been in no contact too long. Somebody doing this 15, 17, 20 years, I'm empathic enough to where I did the communication with her, but I'm in no way gonna allow um anything that demonic back in my life, because it's coming back to tear you down. And so take the suggestions. I'm a firm believer in taking your home environment as a complete priority over anyone else. That's who matters the most, the people that are in your home. And so if you feel like allowing that narcissist, that estranged narcissist relative back is going to harm your life, which it will. It's a narcissist, right? You're not, I do feel it would be different if you're allowing an empath back. But not all empaths mean you well. Allow good people back. Don't just look at their personality type. Hello, Coffee Black 9316. Good morning to you. Good rising. So Coffee Black is bringing some positive energy in, saying good morning, ladies. I say good rising. So yeah, I'm going to be ending this live. Please like, share, and subscribe. Y'all got any questions? Thank you so much, Coffee Black. I like y'all YouTube channel names, y'all. It'd be so cute. The YouTube channel names be so cute to me. So, do y'all have any questions about estranged narcissist relatives that try to come back? Happy rising to you, Coffee Black. I appreciate you so much. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Y'all going to church this Sunday? Where I'm at on the West Coast, it's 8:44 a.m. Y'all going to the house of the Lord today? Y'all gonna watch it or something? You know, if you can't go into church, you can also watch it online. Thank you so much, Coffee Black, for saying happy Sunday. I appreciate you. So, Coffee Black, if you don't mind me asking, are you a gentleman or a lady? I think maybe you could be either or. Saying good morning, ladies, you could be a lady or a man. So, are you a lady or a man? If you don't mind me asking. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine. You're a woman? Okay, thank you so much for coming in here with that positive female energy. I appreciate that. You know, I say lady a lot because you know I've talked about I take that man off me now. I'm no longer a woman, I'm a lady. It's part of how I respect men by not calling myself a woman often. I do it sometimes, but not very often, because I believe that Eve is the only woman because she came from Adam's rib. I believe the rest of us are ladies. So, Adam's wife, Eve, the story is she came from Adam's rib. So I believe that that's the only true to heart woman because she literally came from a man's rib. And I did not come from a man's rib. So that's how I feel. And I like separating my own identity. I'm a girl and a lady. It feels good to me not to be referring to myself as a man. So that's why I call myself a lady. But I do use woman here and there. I haven't completely stopped using it. I just wanted to give you my spiel on how it works. 51 years old. That's a good age, girl. Sure is. That's a beautiful age. 51 years old, young. That's the age where you can really live your life the way you see fit and live a very decent, prosperous life. Because, see, you got the experience, but you're not old. 51 years old is not old. You're still middle aged. And so you can live the rest of your years narcissist free. I truly believe that. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah. Yeah, 51 years old is a very great age. So yeah, I enjoyed this live. Happy Sunday. So I started this live. I didn't want to just sleep, y'all. Thank you so much for saying yes, ma'am. I appreciate that. So I didn't want to just sleep. You know, sometimes on Sundays, um doing this live made sure I got up so I can consider going to church if I want to. Even if I do my church on my live, on the church live, I'm up to do it, right? I can't do church online. I can't go to church in person if I'm sleeping in. So getting up doing this live helped me to wake up, y'all. So this video is about estranged narcissist relatives. In this case, this one was a lady. I gave you the walkthrough, and I am in a no contact. I am in a no contact. So I did the communication. What I do, because I'm empathic, I did give her a chance. I sure did. I vetted her. I listened to what she had to say. I read what she typed. Um, I didn't like it. I didn't appreciate the subtle disrespect. And she just wasn't offering what I needed in my life. And her narcissism is not going to benefit my family that lives at home. We're somebody. Narcissists don't care nothing about you, y'all. They don't think you somebody. Okay, so the thing with estranged narcissist relatives, you got to know you somebody. And it's okay to do this too. Say that my current situation is so overwhelming for me that the estranged narcissist relative energy that they're bringing back in my life will only contribute to major anxiety. See, because you want to make sure that your anxiety stays your alarm system. You don't want anxiety attacks to become severe, because then you may have to take harsh medications and you may not be able to function in your everyday life. So never let an estranged narcissist relative back to bring you back to a nervous breakdown to where you can't function. An estranged narcissist relative, anyone that stayed in a no contact with you 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, they don't care anything about you. And that's another thing it's safe to do. Say this person don't care nothing about me or the Lord I serve. They just coming back to tear my life apart. Don't make room for it. Nobody should think you was just sitting there waiting on them to come back like that, especially when they've been gone that long, y'all. It's a string along. I use the word they're taking you through a screening process, but what they're really doing is it's a major string along, and they're your relative, not your lover. So a relative, an estranged narcissist relative, should not be doing that to you. It's not right. It's going to send you back in a therapist's office. And you're going to be wasting your time talking about them. If you're going to go into a therapist's office, go in there talking about how, what can I do to make myself stronger so I can start my own business? What can I do to make myself stronger to get along with my empathic relatives that are around me, that love me, or my relatives that call me or want to see me or want to hang out? What can I do to be a better friend? Go in the therapist's office trying to figure out how you can be more organized so you can get to church more often. Something more productive that's going to give you a better outcome. Bringing an estranged narcissist relative back, I knew that there was not going to be a good outcome for my life. And a lot of times you're doing the narcissist a favor too. That way you ain't getting into it with them and enabling them to just be a bad person towards you. So anyway, y'all, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for the comments. I appreciate everybody so much. I also want to give a special thank you to my son as well for coming into the live. He's out living his own life and involved in his own endeavors and living a very good life. And I'm just very grateful to be here. So again, please like, share, and subscribe. Tune in for more right here with the Advanced Insight channel. Thank you so much, everyone, for leaving chats and comments. Thank you. Bye. Happy Sunday.